And if you've been up during the night, you might have had a bit of a treat, because if you gaze at the night sky, we had a supermoon, harvest moon and a partial lunar eclipse all rolled into one. What have you missed? We can show you.
We can. So this was taken overnight in Salford, where we are. It was the second of 4 supermoons this year. So that's where the moon appears to be bigger and brighter. And it was a clear night for most of the UK. So hoping you got to see it if you did set that alarm.
It was really good of you to stay up all night with that camera, Nina, on the roof.
I know, I am dedicated.
Someone who was up in the early hours to catch it was astronomer Ben Marshall, who joins us now. Hi, Ben.
Hi.
You've been up all night.
I have, yes.
How was it?
It was good to start with, and then clouded over for me. I did get a couple of glimpses of it at the end, but it was cloudy for most of it, unfortunately. I should have just rocked up on your roof, really.
Yeah, everyone's welcome on our roof. These are your pictures, I think.
Yes.
That's a lovely picture.
Looks like it. That was literally just after I started to pack down. And it just poked out through the clouds, and so you've got the dark patch there in the corner, which is called the umbra, which is the darker part of the shadow. The rest of the moon is actually covered by the penumbra, which is the brighter part of the shadow. And it was literally just as I was packing up for that one.
At least you got it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's always the way, just as you're packing up. Just explain to us then what's happening here. Why the shadows cast and why it's so much bigger than it would be at a usual time?
Well, so the moon is larger because it is closer. So the moon is in what's called an eccentric orbit, which means it's elliptical. Yeah. And at the minute, it's about 222,000 miles away. Its average is 238. So that's 16,000 miles closer, which I worked out is if we left here, flew north over the North Pole, all the way down to the South Island of New Zealand, and then took a bit of a kink and went to Santiago.
OK.
That's how far it is closer than its average.
OK, so that's why it looks bigger.
Yeah, well, it is bigger.
Yeah.
It's what we call angular diameter in astronomy. It's basically how many degrees it is across. So it is larger. Well, the harvest moon side of it is that's the first full moon of the autumn, which we just started, and, well, then the eclipses, well, we know what those are. But the lunar eclipses are special. When you get a full one, it's very impressive because the moon turns red because of the light. It's basically all the light of all the sunrises and all the sunsets on the Earth then shining onto the moon.
And people will have been catching this from across the world, won't they, with a different perspective?
As long as it's nighttime. They would all have... The advantage of this one compared to a solar eclipse is you have to be in the right place at the right time to get a solar eclipse. Whereas this, you just have to be somewhere where it's dark and the moon is up. Because it'll look the same everywhere, yeah, depending on how bright it is and where you are, but everybody will have the same amount of shadow across it, and it all just depends on whether the moon was visible to you at the time.
Just those pesky clouds, hey?
Yeah.
These are some pictures that moon watchers viewers have sent in. Not bad, so lots of people staying up. Sonia, this was Rachel's one. That's brilliant, isn't it? Wasn't cloudy where she was.
No.
And then this one,
wow.
that is super.
That is timing. Oh.
I can hear the envy in your voice there, Ben. You're not even hiding it.
Is one of the things that you really want when you're taking pictures of it or you're videoing it, and they are very rare. Like, if you do it long enough, you get them, but to get it during the eclipse, well done.
And what is the lag or the link with the solar eclipse?
Well, the solar eclipse, of course, is the moon going between us and the sun.
The other side.
Yeah. And this time, we're on the other side. So you do tend to get, when you've got a solar eclipse, you do tend to have a lunar eclipse around about the same sort of time. Mm-hmm. So we had one April 8th was a solar eclipse, and March 25th was a lunar eclipse. So about 2 weeks before, 29-day cycle for the moon, so half of that.
What would you say your percentage hit rate is when you've stayed up through the night or when you've travelled to different countries to see eclipses of both sorts and it's absolutely hit the spot and you've seen what you wanted to see?
Not high. So
maybe it's you, Ben.
It is, I think. I think that's why I was told not to come to the roof yesterday. But yeah,
but that's
not
part
great.
of it, I guess, isn't it? It's the not knowing what you're going to see.
If there's an astronomical event going on, I'll have clouds. It's just the way it works.
And as an astronomer, when you see a moment like that, or Don't. Are you able to sort of park the science in your brain and just enjoy the sight and the natural world, or are you always thinking about the calculations, the distances, the numbers?
And whether a plane's going to come across.
Getting on that app for the planes. Yeah, I think it does happen a lot within astronomy anyway, although, you know, and to be fair, there are people who aren't into the science side of astronomy. Astronomy is a fantastic science for that reason. It's like the only one that normal people can do. Like, you can't walk into some biomedical facility and ask them if you can study viruses. Like, you know, you'll end up on a list. We'll end up stuck in our houses again. But astronomy, you get a telescope, you look at things, you know, you find something that's not documented or wasn't there or has moved, you tell someone, because we like to talk about it, and you've done science. Like, finding near-Earth objects is a popular thing, and there's a lot of scientists, a lot of astronomers who aren't scientists as well. So, and I think even the scientists of us still just enjoy looking at it.
Yeah.
And the weather gives it a bit of jeopardy, doesn't it?
It's that moment of wonder, isn't it, and perspective of the scale of it all, I think.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ben Marshall, thank you so much for coming in. Our viewers will be sending in more pictures just to troll you and upset you.
Yeah,
throughout
just to
the
make you
morning,
sad
so,
that yours aren't as good. Sorry, Ben.
But thanks for coming in and staying up.